now time for Bradford and Brooks, a civil discourse about civil affairs in Bardstown, Kentucky, and around the world. Please welcome your host for Bradford and Brooks, Margie Bradford and Jim Brooks. Now, get ready to enjoy a community forum to encourage citizen participation in the political process by the thoughtful discussion of political and civil issues.
Good morning, Bardstown and Nelson County. Welcome to another edition of Bradford and Brooks. Jim Brooks here with my co-host, Margie Bradford. Good morning, Margie.
Good morning, Jim.
Well, we have a beautiful Wednesday morning outside.
Absolutely. I think it's good omens. The sun is shining, and my favorite parking spot was open. So good start to the day.
And it's a beautiful fall day too.
It is gorgeous.
So I'm always this is my favorite time of year.
Mine too, but it doesn't last very long.
Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not.
But my daughter who lives in Grand Rapids, they're already into the cold weather. So, I think.
I guess we'll be thankful for what we have.
That's right. Yeah, she said fall lasted about 3 days up there before the cold weather hits. Anyway, be thankful for the seasons we have, I guess. Though we did have an extended summer, and hot weather and rain, and probably a wetter year than we've had for quite a few years.
Yes, it is.
I know I mowed grass all the way into this month, and usually I'm done by October. So anyway.
Well, mine is happily still growing.
Well, mine is
happily for it.
I will probably have to mow it before the end of the month. All right. Well, let's put our gardening aside.
Absolutely.
Margie, we have bigger fish to fry. We are continuing our series of interviews with candidates for local office, and today we will feature the candidates who are running for Nelson County Clerk. Now, the county clerk's office is an open seat. Elaine Filiatru, who's been both deputy clerk for many years and then clerk the last 8 years, I believe.
Yes,
something like that. Yes.
And she's not running again. So we have Marion Kelly Pulliam is a candidate, the Republican candidate for, and I'm sure if you've been driving around Nelson County, you've seen Mr. Pulliam signs everywhere. So thank you for coming in today.
You're welcome.
All right. You've been all over Nelson County, I guess, in your campaign. Is that right?
That I have, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, and knocking on doors and putting up signs, and before the show, you said that you do this on your own. You don't depend on a team of other people knock on the doors and things for you.
That's correct. At the beginning of this, election cycle, I guess back in February, March, whatever it was, I made a conscious decision. I wanted to do this by myself. It's about the people of Nelson County, so I think the people are entitled to actually get to know the candidates. So I've had a lot of volunteers wanting to put signs out and, make calls for me, do stuff like that, but I decided I was going to walk the entire county myself. We started down in Howardstown. I came all the way, through New Haven into Bardstown and Chaplin, all the way to Bloomfield, Fairfield, and then back into Bardstown, and I've done Boston all the way through there, and out 245 as well. Mm-hmm. So if you got a card in your door, you can count on I put that card there. No one else did. I made an opportunity for you guys to talk to me. If you weren't home, I can't help that. But, if you ever want to talk to me, the phone number's on the bottom of that card. Please give me a call.
Well, let's start off with a little bit of information about your background. I think that's probably everybody's question. When you have an open seat and somebody pursuing, what would like to be elected, what sort of skills and what experience do you bring to bear on, the office of county clerk?
Well, one of the things I have, I went to Nelson County High School. I went on to Indiana University Southeast. Mm-hmm. I got 2 degrees. The 2 degrees gave me the tools to become an HR manager and a business manager. Early in my career, I started out in the staffing industry. Mm-hmm. And working in the staffing industry, I had about 1,000 employees throughout central Kentucky in the staffing industry. that I was accountable for. More recently, I was an HR manager for a company of 60 employees. The same place, I was also the business manager for about 6 facilities within that company. So, going to the county clerk's office, I think they have about 15 employees, so I should be able to handle that with no problem. Budget-wise, like I said, I managed the budget for 6 facilities. I'm in the county clerk's office. I think, if I recall right, it's like $28 million a year going through there. So,
Right.
And you have to start off with your budget almost immediately, and because you're taking over as the helm of the county clerk's office, which
Right.
I should be able to handle.
Okay, and I guess, when you're looking at it, the clerk really manages the office and the personnel in it. So you bring that kind of experience with you.
Exactly. Yes,
As
sir.
you've traveled throughout the county and talked to people, what do people think, and what do you think is the major issue in this race?
Well, there was a couple things. First of all, I've heard people talk about the customer service when in the county clerk's office, and they had a bad experience. And I know from managing people, there's always going to be good experiences and bad experiences, depending on the day and the situation. But I think Elaine's done an excellent job. But I've gone out and I found solutions ways to come up with ways to improve upon that. Just put my own touch on it, try to make it in a much friendlier place, in my opinion. But not to say Elaine's done a bad job. One of the things I've done is I've gone out to 6 different county clerks outside of Nelson County, and I sought them out because they had certain things going on in their office that I could bring back to Nelson County. And by spending a day with each of them and asking them the questions and job shadowing them, seeing how they do things, they gave me ideas to bring back into Nelson County in order to improve some of the things that I've heard from the people. Another thing people talked about was accessibility. Okay, they said they needed Saturday hours. Okay, the thing about Saturday hours is before Phyllis Mattingly, everybody uses Phyllis for a benchmark for some reason, and she was a very nice lady. I remember Phyllis. She was a very nice lady. But before Phyllis Mattingly, there was a gentleman who was the county clerk, and that gentleman, he actually had 4 Saturdays for Saturday hours. Okay, at that time, I found that out from one of the people I talked to on the road because they remembered back to those days. Let me give an example. Jessamine County. Jessamine County has the same hours that we have. They're very similar to Siza County, county seat. What Jessamine County did, they took Thursday hours, which is a slow day for them, and they cut them in half. They're open 8 to 12 on Thursday. Okay, but being open 8 to 12 on Thursday, it gives their deputies time to go to the doctor, dentist, volunteer in the schools, spend time alone, whatever they want to do. But then they come back Saturday morning. They work 8 to 12. Okay, the benefit for that is your children are usually sleeping in because the children, they went to school and got up early all week, as well as you probably have a spouse, significant other, or a parent who can keep an eye on those children. And one of the things that I found out, just from talking to these 6 county clerks, okay, there is actually 60 counties in the state of Kentucky that has Saturday hours. Nelson County just doesn't happen to be one. And I have a book of all the different hours for all the different counties, and I counted them up last night, and there's 60 counties. So this isn't something new to the state. It's just something we haven't seen in Nelson County for a little while. And Phyllis Mattingly actually had one Saturday open, I believe, if I recall right. So, yeah, I just think it's available it needs to be available for Nelson County. And the reason so is right now the county clerk's office hours are Monday through Wednesday, 8 to 4, and then Thursday and Friday, 8 to 5. Okay, well, when I was working in Louisville as an HR manager and business manager, I'd get home like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. It just made it very impossible for me to come in and use the county clerk's office. So I would always have to either take time off or whatever. And a lot of people I've talked to out in the county, I mentioned Saturday hours, you should see their faces light up. And they're excited about the opportunity to be able to actually go to the county clerk's office without being inconvenienced by it.
Well, I can understand that. I remember, when both my wife and I worked outside the community, trying to get to the clerk's office was always a hassle. It was like, well, can I get back into town in time before it closes?
Right.
And then invariably other people who are doing the same thing, you could wind up with a line of 8 people ahead of you, and there's 30 minutes before the office closes. So.
And you're definitely not getting lunch, so you're standing in line.
Yeah. I think the deputy clerks at the county clerk's office, especially the ones on the front line with the vehicle registration and licensing, I think they do a good job. And I will tell you, just from my own experience being over there, and the fact of some of the things that, some of the licensing issues that I've dealt with, that my brother and I have brought to them, it's kind of a situation where they don't always know what's walking in the door.
Right.
You get some kind of registration that's, or they want to, there's certain situations that they don't get every day. And, like, well, for example, a transfer between a family member, there's no tax being paid, and some other things. My brother and I seemed to always, when Phyllis was clerk, that she would see us both walk in, and we would be either transferring a vehicle between us or licensing something with a special plate, and she would just shake her head. She'd shake her head and say, "Oh gosh, here come the Brooks brothers again," with something.
That was Phyllis.
Yeah. But so the clerks have to deal with whatever comes in the best way they can, and they do a good job, I think.
Right.
But invariably, no matter how many clerks you have working, if there are really busy times for that office.
Right. There is.
I think there are still some plates that come due on a certain time of the year. I don't know if it's heavy truck plates or commercial or something. So there's going to be times when they have peak load and there's going to be a line.
Well, actually, in March, they do all trailers.
Okay.
I mean,
All
so
right.
you're going to be overburdened on March, for
Right.
sure. And like I said, these ladies, I'm sorry, let me back up. These professional deputy county clerks, and there's ladies and men, it's not just ladies, so I apologize for that. But there are a great bunch of people. I've gotten to know all, or not all of them, I got to know them just for being in there and talking to them. And they are a good bunch of people. They work hard, they try to do a good job, they do the best they can for Nelson County. Elaine's done a good job in, providing that training for them. So, but no, like I said, it's, all genders, and they're very professional people at what they do, so.
Right, and the clerk's office is, to me, is fairly unique as a county office because of all the different things that happen there. It's not just, most people go in for their car title or to transfer or registration, but there's a lot of other things going on that the clerk's office is responsible for. For example, keeping track of the minutes, fiscal court. You've got marriage licenses. You've got real estate transfers. And probably something else I don't have on the top of my.
Well, the election process.
Oh,
as
of
well.
course.
Land records
Of course.
department.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a lot to it.
That's-
Elections are huge.
Yes,
That's a
absolutely.
huge responsibility.
Right.
You mentioned about being an HR manager and of supervising people. What would you say is your management style? If you were characterizing your management style, what would you characterize it as?
My management style is an open door policy. One of the things I've always done with my team, I try to be part of the team. I know at the end of the day I have to make the final decision, but we're going to make team approaches, team decisions together, and I have to make the final decision. But I want everybody to be able to approach me, and for us to be able to discuss issues. Because you stop and think about it, your deputy county clerks are the front line.
Sure.
They know where the problems lie because they're the ones that deal with it daily. And if you don't give them support, it's a struggling situation for them. One of the things I think that the county clerk needs to do with this position, and Phyllis Mattingly did this a lot, I need to have a desk out behind where the counters are, back behind it, so people can see me there. As much as possible. There's going to be times I have to go into my office and work on certain things that require some privacy. But I want people to see me as very visible to them, because that way, if there's ever a question, I can be there to help answer that question. I'm part of that team. Somebody's struggling, I'm going to step up to that window and I'm going to try to help them out. And we're all there to, accomplish the same thing. I just happen to be the person in charge.
Okay. Any immediate changes you would like to consider for the clerk's office? You've talked about Saturday hours, but any other aspects of the clerk's office you think could be improved, or any other ideas?
Well, just traveling these roads and talking to different deputy county clerk or county clerks. Outside of the state, outside the county, I've gotten some ideas on how to cut costs. I've gotten some ideas how to improve customer service. I know, for example, I was talking to somebody, and they were talking about through DOG approved House Bill 810, I can put in my budget where I can have a trainer come in and actually work with my deputy county clerks. And, that could be one of the problems. First of all, they might be overburdened because all the people coming in, as well as they might not have had, additional training to help them, learn things that they're doing that they don't realize they're doing. So, they actually mentioned a lady by the name, that was recommended to me named Zella Pearson. She owns Priority One Incorporated, and she's a state trainer. And I know, like with the county clerk, you're set up to where you have to have 40 hours of training, which is provided at the Marriott in Lexington, per year. So the county clerk is getting additional training, monthly. This is monthly. Okay, so to actually have somebody come in and work with my deputies, I mean, I know as my training I'm going to be working with as well, but to have a professional trainer come in and work with them, I think you're giving those deputies, I mean, the support that they actually need. I mean, because, we're there for them to
You
provide
mean
them
in
tools.
addition to their 40 hours?
Well, no, the 40 hours is for the deputy, or for the county clerk. The deputies, there's no requirements for that. I mean, they have people come in to help them with like the election process.
Right.
Just throughout the year, there's for different things, and they have somebody come in to train. But if I get like a professional trainer, this individual I was mentioning, to have her come in and actually sit down and work with my deputies, then, on site, and maybe that will help them in some ways and give them support that they don't realize that they need that might benefit the county of Nelson County. So it's all about, providing the tools and the support for the people within the county clerk's office.
Do you, of course, I don't know if the clerk's office right now is short personnel, but do you see any consideration of adding additional personnel to the clerk's office that you've thought about?
That's something I would have to assess once I get into the situation. I mean, I can do open records requesting, like budgets and stuff like that. And I know at the end of the year, we turn in quite a bit of money to, as excess fees to
Right.
fiscal court.
Right.
But once getting in there, if I see that there is a shortage, I will do everything I can to make sure everybody has what they need. And if that means putting another person on the line, then I'll put it on there. But, not actually managing it or actually working in the county clerks currently, I can't really tell you what the answer to that one is yet, but I will definitely look at it and make sure.
Okay.
What motivates you to run?
Well, there were several things. I had several people approach me because they knew that I was interested in, and I was interested in getting involved in politics in Nelson County. And I got involved in the Republican Party, and I wanted to get into some sort of position. Well, they approached me about this position because they knew a little bit about my background. The more I looked at the county clerk's position, I saw it as a great opportunity for me. And the reason so is, one, I mean, I've done all these things. I mean, I've actually been at the helm. I've managed. I've done budgets. I've done all these things. So I can manage this department very effectively. And second of all is, like I said, I'm from Bardstown. I'm from Nelson County. My family's been here for generations. So, putting myself in the public eye, it gives me a chance to work with, the citizens I grew up with, I played baseball with, went to church with, people that, I've known most of my life, as well as, people that know my family most of my life. I mean, I love the city of Bardstown and the city of Nelson County. So this is my way of giving it back to them. I mean, these days it's just me, and I'm 56 years old, so I see this as a time in my life that I can actually make a jump that way, and actually give back to the community that I love so much.
Well, and for old timers like me who may recall, you're the son of Marion Pulliam, the former Bardstown postmaster.
I am, and
And we were, before the show, we were kind of reminiscing about, because my father worked at the post office at the
Right.
same time, and going up there as kids and hanging out at the post office for probably waiting on our respective parents to get done or whatever they were doing,
Right.
That was,
Well, let me say this. I was telling you this back in the break room. As a child, I grew up in the post office. I mean, my father was a postmaster, so. And we were just talking about how people see things as a child. Okay, I saw my father as being the most important man in Bardstown. And, as we were discussing, he was one of the most important men in Bardstown. I mean, there was other important men, but, he was one of the most important men in Bardstown. I was so proud of that. When I would go to school, my father's the postmaster, and I thought that was just something big.
Sure.
And it is. My father has been a great man to me. I mean, he's not trained me, he taught me well growing up. One of the things my father always taught me, if you ever saw a problem, and that's one of the things I do a needs assessment. Going into the county clerk's office and talking to the people where I see the needs that I actually see, he says find solutions. I mean, I don't say I'm going to look into it or I'm going to think about it. I don't do those type of things. I come up with solutions. And I've always been a solution-oriented person, and you put me in a position like that, I mean, I will tackle I'll come up with solutions almost immediately. That'd be a priority to me, is fix any problem I see. And that's just who I am in nature.
well, as I mentioned before the show in the break room, my father was steward for the Rural Letter Carriers Association. So sometimes when there was a grievance, I know that I think of any postmaster my father worked with, he and your father were on speaking terms and could talk things without getting things, ramping up into emotion and
Right.
and all this. And of course, and that helps find solutions. When you're
It does.
interested in finding in getting to the heart of a matter rather than throwing slings and arrows at each other.
I agree. I mean, whenever you have a problem, there's two sides to each story.
Sure.
The best thing is to listen to all the sides and try to find a compromise that's going to work for both people.
Right.
That's the best thing. I mean, I don't believe in this mudslinging. I mean, I've gone through my campaign. I've attacked nobody. I've just run a clean campaign, and that's what I'm looking to do, and I will do that till the end, regardless. If anything's thrown at me or whatever, I will continue to be a clean campaign. My father taught me that years ago, and you probably had your father come home and say that postmaster, and my father probably came home and said that that's union representative, whatever. But at the end of the day, they were friends. They shook hands. They had a good relationship with each other.
Absolutely, and I think they both would agree that in the end, having a good relationship was probably most important because they're both there to represent. Whether it's the management of the post office or the representative or the individual employee. And of course, on my father's side, he had to evaluate any complaint. And then again, it was a lot of fact finding on what's the basis of this and et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, but I don't know. To me, it seemed like as a kid, it seemed like a whole lot of aggravation. Because he really didn't want to have to take things to the postmaster when there may or may not have been a valid complaint. So,
well, I tell you, in college, I took labor relations, and we did some mock, grievance hearings and stuff like that. I've been on both sides of it in college, so I know where your father's coming from, and I know where my father's coming from, and like I said, you get heated because you're fighting for your cause. But like I said, at the end of the day, the best thing is to do is find a solution between both of them, and just that both parties can live with, and that's the best thing. So
absolutely.
Kelly, the last question we ask usually is give you a chance to state your case. Why should the voters choose you over your opponent for the position of county clerk of Nelson County?
Well, I don't know. I guess, some of the things, everybody see me on Facebook. I know that. I'm a family-oriented person. As you saw, my grandchild born in July. My grandchild born in just a week and a half ago, and 2 grandsons. I got a granddaughter who's 3 years of age, and I love them dearly. That was probably the highlight of my my year, seeing my grandchildren. But I feel like I'm a proven professional. I have managed people. I have managed budgets. I can actually, take a budget and actually run with it. It's not a matter of someone's going to teach me how to do it and not somebody's just giving me a task. I've managed a budget. Okay, managing people, I understand the needs of my employees. I understand, the needs of a manager, what you have to face when you go into the county clerk's office. I went to Nelson County High School, went on to Indiana University, got 2 degrees. With 2 degrees, it gave me the tools to be an HR manager and business manager. So bringing that into the county clerk's office, it puts me in a position where I can step in and effectively manage day one, moving forward. It's just a matter of finding out the needs of the office. I attend church here in Nelson County, played baseball here in Nelson County growing up. The people here are the people that, I love. It's been part of my life most of my life. And I just think, I'm also a solution-oriented person. I find solutions to problems. I'm a good listener. I want to hear people's stories. Because what's important to you is important to me. And one of the things I set for the county clerk's office is I want people to get to know me. I volunteered for almost everything this year, and I was one of the few candidates to do so, almost everything. In doing so, I've developed relationships with people in the county. Because when you walk through that door, I want you to already know me. Because you walk up to one of my professional deputy county clerks, and ask them, why did my tax bill go up $20? Well, most likely they're going to say, well, we don't set the taxes, Frankfurt does, so we're just here to collect them. Well, that's not what you ask. I want you to look over at Kelly and say, well, listen, I know Kelly, I just go talk to him. We'll sit down in my office, and I can fix it 1 or 3 solutions. Okay, one is I can use the training I'll receive in December, but I'm new, I might not know the answer.
Right.
2 is I can call the hotline. The hotline, they don't always get back to you right away. Right. Or 3, I have developed a relationship with a coalition of county clerks outside of Nelson County. These are people like Phyllis Mattingly. It's not Phyllis Mattingly, but just to give an example, Shelbyville, I talked to the Shelbyville county clerk. She said she came from the Piggly Wiggly and became a county clerk. Didn't know anything about the county clerk's office. But she said when she met Phyllis Mattingly at a conference, Phyllis says, call me if you have any questions. She said she stayed on the phone with Phyllis as Phyllis talked her through problems. Well, I got 6, experienced county clerks out there like Phyllis that are willing to do the same thing with me. And bringing in the management skills, it will not take a whole lot for me to learn it. I just need to learn the process, but I have a strong support system. And my goal is when you come to my window or come to their window and you come to me, I want to find that answer for you within an hour, because you're going to see me working that hour, finding it. It's a priority. And if I don't find it within the day, I feel like I failed you. But I'm going to be working my hardest to find that answer, because if it meant enough to you to ask the question, it means a lot to me to find the answer. Because, it's not about me, it's not about the county, it's about the people of the county. And that's what I work for, and that's what I'll do.
Okay.
All righty. Anything else you want to leave with our listeners, Kelly, before we'll take a commercial break?
That time.
Okay, one more thing.
Okay.
I want to ask you guys of Nelson County, I want you to do an informed opinion when it comes to this vote. I don't care if it's your family, your friends, or you're a Democrat, Republican. I want you to look at the qualifications of the people. Have they managed a budget? Have they managed people? Have they got the education to walk in there and be effective? I mean, I know like Lane Filiatcher, she had a bachelor's degree in business management. Okay, it allowed her to be the person she was. She ran it very efficiently. So look at the qualifications of the person. Don't look at the family. Don't look at the friends. Don't look at anything like that. Look at the qualifications and make an informed opinion. And I'm Kelly Pulliam. I'm asking for your vote come November 6th. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kelly. And you're listening to Bradford and Brooks. We're going to take a break for some commercial messages, and then we'll be right back with Jeanette Hall Sidebottom.